My name's Pat, I work for university. Apologies for the sheer boredom of these slides, it's because I did them last night, like most of our students do. Often we come to these presentations and we often have a show of hands for designers, a show of hands for developers. And I felt as someone who kind of sits between the two, I would show the people that are perhaps happier with CSS how they could quickly build their first plugin. So this is going to cover roughly how you could build your first plugin should you wish to on WordPress. I'd probably not submit it, but you're welcome to try.
You need the right hand button.
Freaking right-handers, bigger than left-handed people. So you have two options. You go to WP Content Plugins on your server and you can make a folder there. So you can do it live if you feel like it, you can do it on a local host, you can do it however you want to, or you can make a folder and you can code it anywhere and then you can just upload it when you finish it. For the sake of it, we're going to call the folder Lightning Talk, and into this folder make one file and call it lightningtalk.php. You can open this file using any text editor you want. You don't have to use anything special. People will tell you that you can use lots of things, but for the want of this, you can do it in text edit, you can do it in Notepad, you can do it in WordPad. It's probably better to do it in something like WordPad or text edit rather than Notepad, but it's irrelevant really when it comes down to it. At the beginning, you have to put this. Probably put it as the first line. I'd recommend that you make sure there's nothing before that at all whatsoever, else you'll get header warnings probably, but ignore that, just make sure that's the very first thing in the file. Okay, and this is where it gets interesting. This is where you get to name your plugin. So underneath the PHP line at the top, this is pretty much the minimum you can put in. You can put in more than this, but this is what I recommend. And this is what will appear on the plugins page when you're inside WordPress. So the plugin name, the description and the version. You can put in author names and all manner of other things, but you don't really need to. And then now we can start to add some code. So this is where it gets interesting. Apologies for the people that can't see the bottom row. I'll post them online or something at some point. So basically what this plugin is going to do is it's going to take the content of the page, which in this point is represented by $content, and it's going to do something to it. The smug people or the developers will be saying this function does absolutely nothing at all. And at present, if you were to use this plugin, it would do nothing at all. But it would be your first plugin. Because basically, that is the content of the page, and that is what is returned. So it is taking all the content of each blog post, and it is giving it to you straight back again. Yes, welcome to Uselessness. I am available for all your consultancy needs. So now what you can do is you could zip this, or you can go to the server, go to the plugin page, enable it, or you can zip that folder up, upload that plugin, and then enable it. You may get this, that's the white screen of death. That means that the code has gone wrong, in which case disable the plugin and panic and run. That's what you won't get another out. But what this plugin will do, as aforementioned, is absolutely nothing. Now this is a coding joke. If you change return $content to be return hello world, every single blog post on your site will return the words hello world. Slightly more useful, more useless, depending on this. But this is more pedagogically to introduce you to the concept of what you return is what will appear on the page. So that you can start to think, well, what might I want to do here? So, for example, we've got complicated now. This double slash means it's a comment in PHP. It means it won't affect your code whatsoever. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to return all the content and hello world at the end of the blog post. So let's say you wanted to put some text at the end of each one of your blog posts. You didn't perhaps want to put it into the theme. Say you wanted to put written by someone or some sort of promotional thing or something like that. Then you could do that. Again, it's not doing an awful lot. You could make the case that you would do this in your theme. You could do it here. There are arguments for both approaches. What you could do then is you could get a little bit swisher. So now rather than returning hello world, what you could do is you could return a link at the end, so you can return the URL and then a basic bit of text. So you're just basically returning all of the blog post content, which is $content, and then using that symbol there, which is a full stop, which is PHP speak for merging two strings together. You technically call it concatenation, but you don't need to because that's a bollocks word. Moving on, and then we get a little bit funkier. What we're going to do now is we're going to use a function which is string replace, which is basically PHP speak. I'm a Windows user for Control and H. I don't know what it is on a Mac, but it's basically find and replace. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look through the blog for, say, the company name, and then we're going to replace that instead with a link to a company name. So you might want to link off to something else, maybe a product, maybe something else, and it will and because it's returning that and it's working on the content, I won't deal with what string replace does, but that's roughly an example of that. So that would allow you to take, say, a particular word, maybe a new product for like 30 seconds. And so what you could do then, because this is the last slide, so you can get a little bit funkier, as one example what you can do, is if you put at the top global $post, that will actually look at the post that you're currently on, and then you could say like this is an if statement, so if this statement is true, it will do something else, if this statement is false, it will do something else, and if this post title is called hello, it will return one thing. If the post title isn't called hello, it will return something else. How long have we got?
That's it.
Skills.